Good morning, folks. Hopefully this is going to be a very short video because I haven't had breakfast yet. It's almost 10 o'clock because I've been busy doing stuff. And so I'm hungry. So I'm going to try to get through this pretty quick. Just a couple of things to share with you this morning in reference to the Kiely case. I've been in contact with a friend of mine who has become a friend of mine who has very deep knowledge of the fire cams, who runs them, and some other information that I can't really talk about. But the fire cams may be a clue to something. It's not Kiely going into the lake Friday night, but I believe that they are a clue about something. One of the things that I learned about the fire cams that I did not know before, or if I did, I didn't quite understand it all, but the fire cams are, I can't remember the something infrared, should have written it down, but it's something infrared cameras. And being such, they do not take pictures. So people that think they saw Kiely's vehicle go into the lake Friday night of the party, August 5th, no. They measure wavelengths. They do not take pictures. They measure wavelengths. That being the case, headlights and taillights are both going to look much bigger than they actually are. They're also going to be indistinguishable. So a vehicle turning around, you'd not be able to tell that they turned around. The only thing that you'd be able to determine from watching these headlights or taillights, could be either, is the general trajectory of the vehicle. And so pretty much dispels the myth that the cameras is showing Kiely's vehicle going into the lake. It's just not possible. You're not going to be able to see vehicle turns. You're not going to be able to distinguish taillights from headlights. And also, let me say this. I meant to say this at the very beginning. I apologize in advance for the background noise and also the the sound not being in sync with my lips. I've tried everything. It's just that my computer's dying, people. It's barely working. I mean, it's taken I right click on a file and it takes 2 minutes to bring the context menu up. When you right click something. So I know I've restarted the computer twice. I've restarted this program that I'm recording on 3 times. I've tried everything that I can possibly do to try to get everything to sync up and to get rid of the background noise. And that's partially why I've been doing so many videos with cartoons and stuff like that, is because I get frustrated. And there's been a lot of videos I haven't made because I got tired of fighting the computer and said, screw it, and just forget it. So I almost didn't make this one this morning, but anyway, so I'm making it longer than it should be. But anyway, I want to share with you some information first about the fire cams and also what may have happened on Friday night and the next day. And also what happened to her phone. All right, the first slide I'm bringing up, this friend of mine is having a discussion with somebody else. I believe it's somebody that's connected with the fire cams. Anyway, so let's read this together. This is what my friend wrote. It says, I'm starting to truly believe it is not the cams that are the problem. It is the interpretation of the data within them. We've been sold just two options. The cam footage is real, and she drove herself into the lake. End of story. Or cam footage is completely fake, and she didn't go into the water that night. What if there's a third? What if the occupants of the car, along with Kiely's phone, took a different path down that brought them right to where the police taped last ping was at? They are near infrared cameras that cannot distinguish between headlamps or taillights. Does this also explain the 14 to 15 second delay we see in the footage? If this theory is plausible, the cam footage is real, the interpretation of the data is false. Let's not forget SF brought the footage into the foreground. He wants us to believe the narrative he weaves. If these Tahoe Donner cams that I shared above line up in an overlay image, then we have two different cameras that show the same data. Therefore, it must be the interpretation that is the lie, not the data. Can someone overlay these two images above to see if the Tahoe Donner cams are aimed at Prosser on 8622 003300? It sure looks like it. Well, that was done, and yes, they were the Tahoe Donner cams, which are not what you see on the fire cam footage. The cam footage you see on that we've been seeing on YouTube is the Alder Hill. All right, one of the things they say is that now here's the two different. I don't quite understand all of this. I'm getting this secondhand, and so I don't quite understand all of it. I'm just going to show you this. But what they're showing is the different route that they could take down there. Well, actually, no, this is two different routes. I'm sorry. I don't know what the airplane thing is. Sorry, or else I would explain that to you. I'm not sure what the airplane... Probably should have asked more questions, but anyway. But one of the things they point out is where it says, they're on the left picture, says that the cam angle obscures turns and vehicle's true heading. Near infrared creates this. Sorry, people, the print is really small. I'm trying to squint and see it. True infrared creates optical illusion of only headlamps being visible. Okay. So these are the two paths that they could have taken. All right. So the left one, they didn't go quite as far. The other one, they could have gone down and turned around and come back. And okay, now this is showing the Alder Hill. This next picture showing the Alder Hill camp. Sorry, people. I don't know a ton of detail about this, so I'm just trying to share it with you. So, probably don't know much more than you do. But, okay, but this picture shows the camera, and it shows the line of sight to Prosser, all right? And it says, with this direct line of sight, it would be hard to see a vehicle turn. then compound it with infrared cams only measuring wavelengths and the light source looking like it's 3 times bigger than the car, it would be impossible to see the vehicle turn. And because we can see the unknown vehicle's headlamps bounce across the other shoreline, the turn around at water's edge, if she went down Route B, it didn't enter the water. Okay, so Route B, let me go back to the previous slide. Okay, that second one is Route B, I think. Or it could be the first one. Either way, she didn't go into the water. And there's a lot more technical stuff that I can't explain to you. So, all right, the next picture. All right, from a different angle. Maybe I have them mixed up. Maybe the Alder Hill is the one across. I'm sorry. I don't know which is which. There's the Tahoe Donner and the Alder Hill. I thought Alder Hill was the one that we actually saw, but maybe it was, I don't know. But it says Alder Hill cams wouldn't be able to see any turns the vehicle took. Infrared cams only picked up a light source. The light source is going to be huge in relation to the actual size of the headlamp. So because of that, you only see the general trajectory of the vehicle. No turns. No distinction between light types, headlamp, tail light, as infrared measures wavelengths, as we've already said. Now, this next one shows the area that the police had taped off, which apparently is the last ping area. All right, wait, I guess they taped it off according to the GPS or whatever. But anyway, this is last ping, which they say occurred at 12:33 a.m. the morning of August 6th. All right, so just after midnight, going from the 5th to the 6th, which, yeah, that's... In case you didn't know, 6 came after 5. Now you do. Oh, man, I think my body needs fuel. We're almost done. All right. Now, here's the thing. Her phone quit pinging, which means they probably threw it into the water. I don't think they hit it in the woods because it would still ping. I think they threw it in the water somewhere out there. I don't know if they ever found it or not. I never saw anything that said they did. Somebody else said they found it up in the woods, but I don't think so, because it wouldn't have stopped pinging if they'd have policed it up there. I believe it continues to ping even if it's turned off. I may be mistaken on that, but I know once it hits the water and goes underwater, that's it. It stops pinging. But if, in fact, Nick, the service driver, encountered Kiely the next morning, she told him that she used the guy's phone because her phone was dead. I don't think so. I think she didn't have her phone. But she couldn't be honest about it and said, yeah, I took my phone and threw it. And well, she probably didn't know what they did with her phone. All she knew was that she didn't have it. But I believe that's why she used the guy's phone that she was with, because her phone was taken and thrown into the water. Now, why would they take her phone and throw it into the water? The only reason that they would do that is because they weren't planning on her being around very much longer. And the one thing I can't figure out is they called Nick with the guy's phone. Well, unless it was a throwaway phone, which it could have been just like a throwaway phone that they got at Walmart or something, or at one of these places where you get like those something track phone or, something like that they would use temporarily. It's interesting that Nick says that they called him, and that when he called them back, nobody answered. So maybe they called, and then they turned that throwaway phone off, so there wouldn't be any more activity recorded on it. No GPS, no nothing. It would show the last location as being Boca. Could be a possibility. I think that they took her phone. They took her. Whoever it was that she was with that Saturday morning, I think was responsible for her disappearance, or at least partly responsible for her disappearance. So I think that they took her phone, they kidnapped her from the party area, or she could have already been at Boca because, like I have said before in previous videos, kids said that there was another party at Boca that they migrated to, and thus that was the reason for the mass exodus. I mean, there's also the possibility, too, that Kiely could have been kidnapped, and that's the way everybody took up that Prosser. And then they drove to Boca. On the way up there, once they got around Boca, she put the car into neutral so it wouldn't start. So she'd have an excuse to call somebody to help. But then the guy wouldn't let her signal the guy. She couldn't get away from it. So it's just a thought, It's another scenario. We're still trying to figure this all out. There's so much of it that doesn't make sense. You're well aware of that. We all are. Here's something that I found very interesting. And this was found by, and I hope I pronounce her name right, Shilagi Aniyunwa. Shilagi, if I pronounced it right, let me know. Anyway, this is some stuff that she found, and it comes from AWP's video, How We Found Kiely Rodni. Or no, actually, yeah, How We Found Kiely Rodni, Murder or Accident. So anyway, they said that they found her on August 21st. Now, this is something that Shilagi found. That gal, I swear, she could be a very good detective. She finds stuff that I cannot believe, some of the stuff that she finds sometimes. She does such a good job. And she seems like such a nice person, too. But she finds some very interesting stuff. She has, the way her mind works, she'd be a good detective. Because she thinks outside the box very well. But anyway, this is some shots from AWP's video that she had put in her video. Now, the first shot here just shows them they're looking for the vehicle. They've got the, I want to say viewfinder. I don't know what it's called. So, I know it's sonar, but the thing that they see the images on in the monitor. I mean, it's a monitor. I know that, but there's a specific name for it that I can't remember. All right, then the next shot shows, I think this is right about the time that they see her vehicle, right, on the monitor. Now, here's where Shilagi thinks outside the box. Here's a close-up. It's hard to see. It's a lot harder to see on this image than it is looking at it on my phone. But if you can make it out, This is from their video, right? When they're finding the vehicle, right about the time that they're finding the vehicle. The phone says Wednesday, August 24th. Not the 21st. It says Wednesday, August 24th. You notice she's got a note here, 8/24/2022. The AWP, the true crime community demands you release the footage. Yeah, so this is back when we were wanting them to come out with this other footage, which they did come out with some, but they were very selective in what they came out with. They said it was the raw footage, but they said in their other interviews that they also interviewed the girlfriend, and at least the version that I saw of them saying it was the raw footage of Nick's interview, I don't remember anywhere in there where they interviewed the girlfriend, because they flat out said in one of the interviews on, I don't remember whose channel it was, but they flat out said, yeah, we've got this other footage, all of Nick's interview, his girlfriend, and of course they mentioned Grandpa and Daniel, which they never released, which I fully believe that, because the way Jared described it, the way he described it, that I think Daniel, he says, if there's another theory that, and I think what it was is Daniel thinks Lindsay was involved. I really do. I can't think of any other. Well, I guess there could be other, but that to me makes the most sense. That would shock us. I mean, I don't think it could be that she was abducted, because I believe that they thought that it was her in that vehicle, which I don't think it was. Now, the question I have, why did they say it was the 21st if it actually was the 24th? I really haven't delved into it that deep, but I plan to see if there's any significance. But I just don't understand why they would say it happened 3 days earlier than it actually did. Because obviously from their video, I mean, I guess they could have shot that at a later date, but if you watch the video, at this part where he's holding the phone up, it pans over and shows the image of the vehicle. If I remember correctly, I'd have to watch it again, but I believe so. He's holding the phone and then it shows the vehicle. I mean, there's always the possibility that they didn't shoot the footage when they were looking for the vehicle, and so they, but my understanding was they didn't stay another 3 days. They took off the next day after they found her. Because this would have been 3 days later. What were they doing for 3 days? It just doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense. So anyway, I'm sorry this was so convoluted and, and I thought I knew exactly what I was going to say when I started it, but after I got into it, it's like, I don't, and I should have probably done more research, before, but, anyway, but what it does, I mean, the main point, of the fire cam footage was that there's two different views, two different views showing the same things, and they're not showing a vehicle going into the water on Friday night. And also, I wanted you to be aware, too, anybody brings any of this stuff up, that, yeah, it measures wavelengths. It doesn't measure film vehicle motion. See the vehicle going out? No, there's no way. There's no way. That's not what the cameras do. It's not what they're for. So anyway, hopefully, people, you can. I didn't drive you crazy in this video. I just really wanted to share. I want to keep Kiely's name out there, and so whatever excuse, that I can come up with to keep her name out there. And this was new information. At least it was new to me. It may not be new to you, but, some of it was very new to me. So anyway, I'm going to go eat breakfast because I'm freaking hungry. So we'll talk to you later.